Okay. So we're going live in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hello, everybody, and welcome. This is Melly from Melly Music Lessons, and I am so happy to be here with all of you guys. We're in for a treat today. We have Dorian Holley. I want to tell you a little bit, just a quick intro about him, and he will tell you the rest today. Dorian has been a vocalist for artists like Stevie Wonder, Michael Jackson, Christina Aguilera, Coldplay, Rod Stewart, James Taylor, and more. He has also been a coach on American Idol, a singer also on Dancing with the Stars and The Tonight Show. Some of his most recent work includes a tribute concert called A Love Letter to Marvin Gaye, which you can stream on the link that I'm going to be posting below. And he just released some new music he's going to talk to us about. And he was on this year's Oscars as a vocal contractor, which is awesome. So he's the man. He's the coach, the one and only Dorian Holley. Woohoo! Welcome, Dorian. How's everything?
Hi, sweetheart. Everything's good. You forgot to mention that, we met while I was teaching a vocal class
Yes, we met at Los Angeles College of Music. And yeah, that's part of my questions, definitely. Very excited to to tell more about that later on. But yes, very excited to be here with you. Thank you for agreeing to share your knowledge with us. We're very happy. Okay, so hello everybody on YouTube. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for joining all my awesome crew here in crew of singers. Thank you for joining us here on Zoom. Okay, so let's start from the beginning, Dorian. Did you always wanted to be a singer?
Well, I always sang. I hadn't. I don't know that I thought about I want to be a singer. I wanted to be a fireman, like most boys, when I was a kid. So I thought I would have a job doing the things that I saw, the jobs around me in the world. Everybody loves uniforms, and so that's one of the first things we're attracted to as kids. But I always sang. I went to a beautiful church in Santa Monica called Calvary Baptist Church. That church is still there now. It's the church where my mother and father came from the South and met there, and had a family, and that's where we went to church every Sunday. We were required to go to church, to Sunday school and to church, and we had a beautiful big choir at that church. So I got to hear live music every week. I got to see people singing, and I was attracted to music. And I had my family tells me I had a talent for it. I could harmonize with songs, very early on, 3-4 years old, and but I didn't really know. There was no one coming through my life who was employed as a singer. And so that just wasn't something I never really thought about until much later. But again, I always sang. I sang in the church. I eventually joined the church choir and the various churches we attended when we moved from one point in Los Angeles to another. I was always in the choir and started writing songs as a teenager. And one of the things that was so amazing and that I love and I'm really grateful for is that I think it's somewhat missing today, is that your church becomes a family. It becomes an extension of your family, and it becomes part of your community. And it isn't just that you can sing and get up in front of people and learn how to sing and learn how to perform. It's also that you're thinking about something above yourself. You're singing to God, you're singing for God. And the church community, the church is always, they gave me a key to the church so I could go there and use the piano and play and learn how to write songs. They trusted me with that. Later on, after high school, when my sister and brother and I formed a band, they let us use the church every Saturday to rehearse in. Me and the band with drums, loud drums and guitars, and eventually use their PA system until we could afford our own PA system. And never was charged a cent and always even when I was no good, encouragement, and I was told that I was great, and I have proof that I was not great. I still have recordings of me singing when I was 12 and 13 and 14 years old, and as I was developing and getting better, and at a point where you could be made to turn around because somebody discourages you. But it was only I only ever got encouragement. People always they looked at me and listened to me, and they saw the possible future for me and gave me encouragement. And that's what somebody needs when they're starting. They need somebody to say, yeah, you can do it. You have something. And I had that. I'm grateful for it.
Awesome. I love it. So, so, so great. So when did you like discover you have this own kind of unique singing voice?
It was then. It was early on. You know, and that people enjoyed it made me want to do it more, and it made me want to practice. And I'd hear singers that were great. You know, of course, you got records, and sometimes we go to programs where, you know, there'd be 2 or 3 different guest singers, and I just always wanted to improve, and I always wanted to be good. I would play a record and want to be as good as the people that I loved. And so I would, you know, but I mean, I thought I had something, and people heard something. They heard some talent. Excuse me, they heard some talent in there, and they heard something that was on its way to becoming more than it was at the moment. and you know, I was told, I love your voice, I love your singing, or you did a great job, or you touched me this morning, or what you sang really meant something to me. And I wanted to be in that space, and I wanted to kind of figure out what that was.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. So you mentioned that you started getting into like songwriting, which is something I didn't know. Where did you discover that like passion for songwriting?
Um, I just always loved a song that was different or that said something really well. One of the first things I wanted to be was a writer. And I remember one Christmas, my parents got me a typewriter for my Christmas present. And we'd always go to my grandparents' house for Christmas. And while everybody sat in front of the TV, I sat in front of the TV with this typewriter in my lap, typing a story. And I loved the way that words looked on a piece of paper. That was magic to me. And so then when I was, I guess, about 13 or 14, 12, I started, well, this is something curious. This is something that I believe my dad had a lot to do with it. When we'd be getting ready in the morning, one of the ways that he made it fun was he would say something that we were about to do, and he would put a tune to it. He would just make getting up to brush your teeth, or getting up to go to school, or getting up to get ready to go from the bedroom to the kitchen to have breakfast. He'd make it into a little song. And he would say us he would actually make whatever the line was a rhyme. And then he would like sing like a guitar line at the end of it. And I remember the tune now where he would just always do that. He was like, you're looking groggy, you look like Lurch. Come on, everybody, it's time to go to church. And then it became a game that we all played because we would try to do it. And I think that connection was being created of words and music being married together. And so I just started, I started piano lessons, and then I started making tunes to music, and then I started writing songs, and I love writing songs. If I could have my way, I would. That's what I would do, and that's what I would be. I mean, I still do write, and not as much. I always wish I wrote more. I wish I made time to write more. But that's my first love. I really love when a beautiful song, you hear a beautiful song, man. It really gets to me. It's something that somebody says that you thought, but have never sat down to make it say to say it in a particular. I love songwriting. I really do.
That's so nice. I agree. I feel like to me, songwriting is also my first love. And it's so also like the way that you express, especially when I was a teenager. I'm like, I can't tell all this to my mother and father, so I might as well, like, put it in a song. So yeah, that's great. So talking about songwriting, you have well, I saw today you have a new song, but you also have a song called "Can't Find My Way Home" that you wrote and sang with your daughter, Nayanna. Is that how you say it, Nayanna?
Well, I didn't write it. It's Nayanna is her name. It's
Nayanna.
my firstborn, and we did a project of covers of
Oh.
songs that the people know. It's probably too old. That's probably why you don't know it. Most of the songs that we recorded are older than you. But there are songs that I grew up listening to, that I grew up playing for her. And there are songs that have meaning for us because they're songs that were on our journey. My journey is becoming a musician, and hers. She does the same thing as I. She makes her living singing. It seems like it wasn't long ago when she was traveling with me to go to tour with Michael Jackson as a baby, and being carried around at an amusement park by Michael, or coming out on stage on Heal the World. So yeah, we during the lockdown, an organization asked Nayanna if she and I would do a song together. I think it may have been, I think it was for Black History Month. And so we got a couple of friends together and we recorded this song, videoed this song. And the bassist, who's a dear, dear friend and great musician, matter of fact, he's in John Legend's band. His name is Kabe. He asked, have you guys ever done a project together? And we said, no, we haven't. He's like, why not? And we were like, I don't know. We never thought about it. And so we, the pandemic presented this unique sort of time where there wasn't much you could do and everybody was striving to still be creative. So we went to Kabe's house every week and we selected songs and worked them out and recorded this project in a very short period of time, and it was like it was like we were the record company and we were the A&R department, and we just did this thing. We collaborated and did this amazing thing with these amazing musicians. And yesterday we released the second single, which is People Get Ready, which is a song that I grew up loving by Curtis Mayfield, and that he wrote for the Impressions, his band. And this song, so anyway, it's a beautiful project. I'm very, very happy with. It's amazing to sing with my baby, and it's called DNA, which is what we share our makeup, and also my name's Dorian, her name is Nayanna, and it's Dorian and Nayanna Holley.
Perfect. I just posted it there on the chat so people can go and follow you and get that incredible album on Bandcamp, right? Is that it?
You can get it at Bandcamp. It's on Rope-A-Dope Records. It's on the new song is I think the new tune is on iTunes. I mean on YouTube and iTunes, and it's everywhere.
Perfect.
It's everywhere you are. Wherever you are, there's our song. And I hope people will buy it rather than stream it. I think most people are beginning to know that, the artists don't get much money when you stream. They get next to nothing. And I think we're also losing the understanding that if you make something that it costs money to make it, it costs you money for your equipment there. It costs us money to make a to make a song that you can listen to and cherish. Musicians trying to make a living, so I
Yes,
always try to encourage people to not stream but to buy,
I agree on that. Well, thank you so much for sharing. We'll talk more about that. Good. So, if you have to choose, what was like your first successful gig, the one that marked your name like as a professional vocalist?
it was the Michael Jackson tour. I mean, it was his bad tour, his first solo tour. um I had done one tour before that was, you know, with a with that nobody really knows now. It was uh, we were opening for Frankie Beverly and Mays, which is a great uh, R&B funk band, and Shirley Jones. I was in her band opening for Frankie Beverly and Mays, and a lot of people don't know who she is. Um, Older R&B people know. So yeah, but it was the MJ tour, getting that tour and going around the world a couple of times and being on a 15 months, of touring the world, which was just the most amazing circus-like, dream-like experience ever. But that's where people found out who I was. I mean, singers in the community didn't even know me because I wasn't making my living as a musician. I was making my living selling ads over the telephone, and got that gig, and my whole life changed.
So, piggybacking on that, tell us how was the experience working with Michael?
Uh, it was, it was amazing. It was great because not only was obviously Michael was just great, one of the nicest people you ever want to meet, one of the hardest working people you ever want to meet, with just talent that could take your breath away. Also, excuse me, the musicians in the band, everybody was stellar. It was a group of people who were all at the top of their ability. I mean, one of the greatest drummers ever. I mean, every department, the bass, the guitar, the singers, and it was kind of like this. Like everybody wasn't just that, but everybody was. It was like coming to this is going to be an old school metaphor, and I don't know if it's a good one, but it just popped in my head. You're coming into a town, and it's gunslingers, and everybody is just the best at the shootout. So it was just so much fun to be. Sometimes you come into a situation and like you like maybe one person is really good, and everybody else is just trying to get there, or two people, and you're dragging along the other singers, or the guitarist is not that good, or whatever. This was like out of like how many? Maybe I think the band was about 13, including the dancers. It was a really big band, and about maybe 16. It was a lot of people in the band, but everybody, for the most part, was excellent, 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 excellent. So that it wasn't just the star power of Michael on stage, which was all anyone really needed, but his band and the singers, the level of everything was like an atomic blast. I mean, it was just like, and to go back and to listen to those and to watch those old shows is really, it's an out of body experience for me. But I'm struggling just trying to find ways to make it come alive for the people watching right now. But it was just insane and amazing and so much fun. And then on top of all of that, as much energy, as much nuclear energy as it was coming off the stage, as loud as it was, with our stacks and 3 stories of speakers on either side. With all of that, the audience was louder and sending an equal amount of nuclear force, if not more. I mean, you go out on stage and you can just feel the heat of 100,000 people, the heat of 160,000 people is impossible to describe, to know the feeling without actually feeling it. You go out on stage and it would just be a wall of heat and energy coming from the audience. And so it's a rare, amazing thing. And I'm really lucky to have been able to experience it.
Wow, that's amazing. Thank you for such an amazing description. Now I know why you love songwriting. I love it. I was right there with you. I'm like, okay, yeah, I can feel it. I can feel it. It's so great. Good. So I wanna go into, you were a coach on like American Idol, and like when you were there, what did you learn in American Idol as a coach, and how did you help prepare the Idol contestants?
What did I learn? I learned a lot. I learned a lot about show business. I learned about a lot about how difficult it can be. I learned how it's really, you know how it is when you're doing a project with some friends and everybody has ideas and you can't get anywhere. The TV experience is like that and more, because you got a deadline. There's no time. There's already no time. When you start, you're out of time. And there's a lot on the line. The producers obviously want to keep the show on. You're competing with every other show on television. So it's really high stakes. And then, and I'm not even coming close to describing what that part of it is like. But out of all of the things that are going on, all of the pressure to select songs, all of the time crunch, after all of it, and which should be first, is you have this person, this human, usually a very, very young person, who is terrified. Oftentimes, they're people who don't have much experience in front of audiences, and they're about to go on television in front of hundreds of millions of people and perform and be judged. And one of my goals is to try to get them out of that mindset, because there is that perception. But the other perception is that if you're a singer and if you've been singing, you're not going to go do anything new. You're not going to go perform brain surgery. You're not going to go fly a rocket ship. You're going to get up and sing, which is something that you presumably have done thousands and thousands of times. So it's part of my job is to try to get the person to be present and to take your mind away from you're going to be judged. You're going to be on TV. You're the biggest stage of your life. This is really important. This is the moment. And if you blow it, you could be lost forever. To try to get you out of that and to just go do what you've been doing. Go do what the good part of all of this is you're getting ready to do something that you know how to do. And in some cases, you know how to do it better than the people who are the judges, the celebrities who are about to criticize you on television. And you can't worry about who votes for you, because that's in the hands of God. You can't control what people are going to say. That's out of your. But what you can do is you can control. And we dealt with this in our class together when you and I met. What you control is how you rehearse, how you prepare, and how you have the ability to get control of your mind and your heart and your emotions, and tell this story. So that's what. So geez, the things I learned are a billion. And I could go on for probably all weekend talking about them. But my main thing was to try to be compassionate. I like teaching because I'm a singer, And so I'm not telling you about what I think, I'm telling you about what I know. I get nervous. I've had panic attacks. I've forgotten lyrics. I've wanted to run and hide while in the middle of a song. You know, the things that happen to you, as you and your viewers know, the things that happen to you while you're performing, no one can explain. And they're and you can start thinking about, you know, did I turn off the stove before I left the house while you're singing a song? I mean, it's just it's crazy. And I try to um, relate, and I try to be there for them, try to be at their side, try to be a comfort to them. When you come into my room to rehearse, it's a safe place. It's a place where you can make mistakes and you can experiment, and you can cry, and you can think you got the wrong song. Here's one thing that can be really helpful. I'm going to give you two things. One is, it doesn't matter what you sing. The song you choose, like you always hear, you chose the wrong song. I steer away from that because I feel like this. If you perform the song right, it's not the wrong song. If you don't, it is the wrong song. And that can be one day where you perform it right, and the next day you perform it wrong. That said, song choice is really, and this is the second thing, song choice is important. And when you're in a competition, which I think is a bad thing to be in, I wouldn't ever be in a singing competition because I don't think those two words go together. Performing music and competing, you know, racing, yes, swimming, yes, singing, no. But if you must, and if you are in one, first thing to think about, what songs what's everybody going to choose? You know, everybody's going to choose, you know, when American Idol started, everybody chose Whitney Houston songs, Mariah Carey songs. That's my dog telling me he's hungry. If you can hear that tinkling there. It's his dog Tag is hitting the bowl while he licks the bowl to tell me, I need to eat. And so there's always kind of a lexicon of songs that everybody, you know, the latest songs on the radio are the ones that everybody's going to choose. I would stay away from those songs. Because if you stay away from those songs, you're already in a different category than everybody else who isn't thoughtful enough to go over those songs. The second thing is that almost everybody's going to choose a slow ballad that makes you want to stab yourself in the eye. And you're smiling because you remember me talking about this, right? So every singer wants to sing the most heart-wrenching, funeral-inducing, you know, stab myself in the heart song. We're just attracted to that kind of stuff. I wouldn't choose a song like that in a singing competition. Because again, if there are 10 people on the stage, 9 people are going to pick those kinds of songs. I'd pick an up-tempo song. I pick a song because you pick an up-tempo song, you're automatically in a category apart from everyone else. And this advice is for auditions, by the way, in case you guys hadn't noticed. So if you pick that, if you avoid the make me cry ballads, the other thing is that those songs that everybody's going to pick, the judges hear those songs all the time. And when the next person starts to sing it, they just want to fall over crying. So if you pick something new, something interesting, something up-tempo, you already have extra points against your competition. So that's a whole seminar, you know, and I can spend hours talking about that. But curiously, as many times as I've said it, people almost never listen to me.
I love it. I love it. And the reason why I'm laughing is because I remember our very last class. You gave us one assignment, and it was like, if you choose a ballad, you're not going to have a good grade on this class. And everybody chose a ballad. Everybody chose a ballad. So I remember having straight A's in all my classes except your class. I had a B, I remember. And I was like, this is because we chose that damn ballad. I remember that.
I don't remember that, but it sounds like something I would do. The thing is that the main thing is it, um, one of the reasons we're not successful, and I include myself in this we, is we go against what can work for whatever reason. It's just like like if I, like if I say to people, if you sing a ballad, you're not going to pass this audition. People will still come in and sing ballads because why? Why is that? Why will people do that? Or let's say this: if you know that, let's say you have a 40-hour a week job, and you know that when you get home from work, you're not going to want to work out, but you know that working out is going to make you healthier, it's going to make you feel better, you're going to perform better. People still won't get up early in the morning and work out. If people know that sugar is poison, we will still eat it. So if we do these things in life that we know are not good, that we know don't work, we know won't get us, but we still insist on doing those things. And it's human nature, it's unfortunate. But if a person will, if a couple of people who are watching this YouTube will go, I read a thing a couple of days ago where on Instagram where the guy said, if you just take 18 minutes every day and do a thing, whether you, for 18 minutes, you do push-ups, or you practice piano, or if you practice singing, or if you learn to cook, or learn a new language, or learn music theory, 18 minutes every day. At the end of 365 days, you will be in a better position than 90% of the people on this planet. Because most people won't do what's required to be successful. And the information for being, and the other thing is that it's stuff that we say we want. I want to be a better piano player, so I can't practice 18 minutes, but I can look at a TikTok for 2 hours every day. And so the prescription to improving, to being better, it's right there. Like, if I'm sure that almost everything I've said that people have heard before, but if there are people who are hearing this for the first time, if they just do what I just said, they'll be successful at what it is, whatever it is. Like, you want to be a better guitar player, and you want to join a band. You could be a great guitar player in a year with just 18 minutes. Now that's not. Now, what if you put 2 hours in? Oh my God. What if you put 3 hours in a day? You'd be a master at the end of that, and everybody would be beating a path to your door. So anyway, sorry, I just turned my phone off.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah, so I don't even remember what the question was, and I kind of went off on a tangent as I often do. But it's encouraging to know that we can all be better at whatever it is that we love, if we would just kind of fight our natural urge and dig in.
I love it. I love it. Thank you so much for sharing. I know we have a couple of questions. We're going to try to get through some questions first that I have over here, but then if we have extra time, we'll get to answer those questions, you guys. Okay, so I know the way we met was in music school, and I've always wondered, because when I saw your name and when I saw that you were going to be my teacher, I'm like, there's no way. Come on, So being able to choose any gig in the world, really, from my point of view, what made you choose vocal teaching?
Well, it's interesting. If you're going to be a musician, if you're going to earn a living as a musician, you're going to do a billion things along the way. And the singers had a strike. The singing union in Los Angeles, nationwide, had a strike, so we couldn't work for 2 years. And A friend of mine taught at the school, and she asked me to come in and substitute. One day she had a gig, she couldn't do it, and I came and I taught. I taught 1 or 2 times at the school. Not very long after that, she went out on tour with I can't remember if it was Stevie Nicks or if it was with the Eagles. I think she was in both bands. And she asked, and so she asked if I would cover her class for a whole semester because I guess she got good, a report from me doing it. And just before that, what the funny thing was, just months before, my wife asked me why didn't I go up the road to the college and see if I could teach some classes, because I wasn't making any money. And I was like, I had a cynical view towards teaching. Real musicians don't teach. People who teach are people who can't make it in the music business. But anyway, I took this class because I needed the money and I didn't have anything better to do. And I loved it. I loved teaching. I didn't realize that I had so much to share. I love people. And I had some information to pass on. So that's how I came to teaching. And this is what's really interesting and why we should always be open. Just be open to stuff that you don't know. Just if you just are open in general and say yes to things, you really will be shocked where it leads. After I taught there for a few years, Ricky Minor, who is I was kind of getting closer to and beginning to work for. He's a music director and he puts together bands for shows and tours and everything. And he was called to be on American Idol and he was putting together a team. And he called and asked me if I wanted to coach on the show. And I said yes. But everything I did there at LA College of Music is what prepared me for coaching on American Idol, because I had never really coached before, but it was just a glorified performance class. Every single thing that I did on American Idol, I learned at the college. How to pick a song, how to choose a song, how to perform. I mean, I know how to perform because that's what I do, but it's one thing to be able to do it. It's another thing to be able to articulate it to somebody else and help them do it. So, that step, I mean, I guess I could have gone to American Idol, but I don't know how well I would have done. There's a possibility that I would have not been ready and not able to be effective and maybe couldn't even keep the job, But it's just interesting how everything is connected.
Yeah, I agree. Life is happening for you. That is true. So my audience really likes warm-up exercises. Can you give us any favorite warm-up exercise that you enjoy doing?
Warm up. I give you one. This one is a key. This is the one you want to do every day when you work up. When you work up every day, first you have to learn how to speak, and after you learn how to speak, then you can tell people what's in your mind. Every day when you wake up, you can do this while you're lying in bed. You can do it in the bathroom while you're putting on your deodorant. You can do it while you're driving. The first exercise you want to do is this. This is the thing that tests your voice. It warms up your voice. It moisturizes your voice. It also tells you where your voice is. And it's like and everybody can't do it, but it's like when you're a kid and you're a motor. You're it's just that. It's just being silly with your voice, but you're using the voice. You're testing it. You're stretching it out. You're getting it warm, and you just start at a low scale and go up to a high scale. And that's the first exercise you want to do every day. So, and you're like going, okay, this is where my voice is. And it will also tell you how much warm up you have to, like if, for instance, if your typical warm up is a half hour, some days you wake up and you go I need to warm up for an hour. Or if your typical voice warm up is an hour, you need to go, I need an hour and a half before I'm really ready to sing. So that's a real good one. That's an easy one. That's one that you don't need a teacher for. Just start low. And there's another thing, if you can't do this, because some days are easier than others for me to go. Some days I can't keep my lips together. So if you're having trouble with it, what I do is I put my teeth together, and then I press my lips together. It helps me to be consistent with this. So I put my teeth together like that. And, you just kind of, you're not clenching them hard, but you're just put them together securely and then do the lips. And again, if that one's hard for you, do this one, which is a little nastier. I find that one more difficult with your tongue out. And it's also kind of gross. You don't want anybody to be in the way. But yeah, that's a really good warm up.
Thank you so much for sharing that. Love it. Great. So I know that we talk about lots of like great achievements and things like that, but is there a story from your career that maybe didn't turn out the way you expected, that might help us understand more about like persistence? Anything you want to share?
Oh man. Yeah, well, I don't know if this is a particular story, but things are going to go up and down. It's never going to happen that, and this is truer for us than it is for other professions, but other professions have it too. I mean, you see people in the tech world get laid off. Yeah, it's true for everybody. Everything must change. That's the name of a beautiful song, and it's really Bernard Aigner wrote this song. And if you don't know it, write it down right now. Everything must change. Bernard Ignar Ignher Aigner or Ighner, one of those. Bernard. It's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful song. He has a beautiful, beautiful voice, and it's been covered by 300 or 400 people. Anyway, your career is going to go up and down. Ighner. That's right. So it's easy to get discouraged and think that it's over. Like, let's say you have a good job in music and that job ends, and then you're kind of seems like a long time before you get anything else. You see it with actors. You like see an actor in a series and they were great and you love them, and then you might not see them again for 10 years. You might not see them for 20 years. And then they come back and they're like, it just happened with the young Asian man in Everything Everywhere All at Once. He was a boy star, and then he was away until he was a man well in middle age, and now he just won an Oscar in this movie. Anyway, you have to be patient, and you have to be active, and you have to be positive and know that it's not going to last forever. The down times, because sometimes it can seem like forever, and you can despair. For some people, you have to be willing to do other things. Everybody can't be in Michael Jackson's band. Some people can be in a church band, or in a band that plays clubs. It's easier to reach people than ever before. I mean, here I'm looking at my phone right now. I mean, this is science fiction. We live in a world of science fiction now. These things that we take for granted, they weren't always the case. I was laughing to my wife the other night. We have flat screen TVs in like three or four rooms in our house now. And I was just like, I used to live a couple of blocks from here. We had one TV in a house. Our whole house was as big as this room that I'm in right now. and there were 6 of us. So technology changes, everything changes. You always want to try to be educating yourself. You want to get your tools as sharp as you possibly can. And you want to be friendly to everyone. You want to be nice to everybody. I mean, Melly was like the first person I knew that was starting like a blog podcast. Before podcasts exist, she had one. And I was like, she went straight out of school, and it was like no time she was calling me and saying, hey, I'm starting this thing and I'm doing. I'm like, what is that? Do you remember?
Yeah.
You sent me, I think you sent me an email or something. And, and then years later, everybody's doing it. Everybody. I mean, I swear you're the first person doing it that I knew. And it was long before Joe Rogan or any of them. But anyway, pay attention, read, write, make friends. And the reason you want to be nice to everybody, you shouldn't be nice to everybody because you hope they'll get you a job sometime. You should be nice to everybody, period, because it's good to be nice. We all have to live in the world together. And that's how we should be to one another. We should be making the world a better place. And each of us can do that. But in addition to that, every job I've ever gotten is called because someone called me. I'm not in a book. There's no book for singers or vocal coaches or anything like that. You have to, every job comes from referral. And if you're a drag to be around, nobody's going to say, call. On the contrary, they'll be, don't call that guy. He's a drag. This guy's always starting drama. Don't be, if there's drama on a gig, don't be in it. Don't listen to it. Don't be in it. You want to be known as a person with got a sunny personality. They do their work. They do their homework. They're always willing to do extra. They bring a great spirit. They're fun to be around, and that stuff, this is kind of aside from that. Some people, well, I don't have that kind of personality, but you can, people who are always positive. Maybe there's something chemical going on, but you can pretend to be in a good mood and to be nice and to do nice things for. And the more you pretend, the more you become that thing. You get up in the morning, you're like going, I'm going to be optimistic. I'm going to be positive. And I'm going to smile at the people when I pass them on the street. I'm going to be that person. You decide to be that. And then you start, and then your brain starts following what you told it to do. So I don't want to get into a psychological, like, woo,
no, I love this
kind of thing. But it's true, right? It's really true.
Yeah.
I'm seeing a lot of questions, and I want you, we can answer like all of these questions if you want. Don't feel like you have to rush people out.
Okay. I appreciate that. So my last question that I had from this end, and then we can get to other questions. So if you guys give me 1 second, we'll answer those questions. So what does it take to succeed and make a living as a vocalist? What advice will you give to all those dreamers out there?
First thing is to learn how to sing. Learn how to really sing, and don't just learn how to sing well enough. I think that one of the drawbacks of the technology we have is people sing something and they want to put it on the phone. Let me help my wife open the door.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you guys for being here.
Hey, yes. So, hi, baby. She's talking to my youngest daughter who's away to college as she comes in from her soul cycle class.
I love soul.
The first thing is I was going to say one of the drawbacks of this is that we can rush to show the world what we're doing. And oftentimes we're not really ready for people to see that. So, and it can also, by doing that, it can make you feel like you've done the thing because you did it, got an audience, you put it on YouTube, you got some comments, and now you're good. And so you can feel like you've accomplished something. but make sure you really learn how to sing well, you know, and you got to figure out how to do that. It could be every song on your iTunes playlist. You can learn every one. I would learn how to sing. I would take. Here's the thing to do: get a list of 15 songs. I used to tell people to do this. I haven't told anybody in a long time. Go to 3 different people and go to one person. Go, give me a list of 5 great R&B songs that you love, and then write those songs down. And then go to another person and say, give me a list of 5 jazz songs that you love, and write those songs down. Then go to someone else and say, give me a list of 5 country songs, and make a list of those. Then go to another person and say, give me a list of 5 gospel songs. And then you write those down. And then you spend 1 week learning a song a week, and learn them and try to sing them exactly like if Aretha Franklin is song number 1, learn how to sing exactly like that. Try to imitate her as much as you can. Maybe it'll take you 2 weeks. But anyway, that's 20 songs and that's 20 weeks. And you're in a vocal class now for 20 weeks that you've set up for yourself. So you come home every day and you spend an hour or 2 working on that song, that artist, learn about their phrasing. And here's another good thing about that. If you're doing that, if you're spending a week or 2 on an Aretha Franklin song, you're getting a vocal lesson from Aretha Franklin. And again, every one of those songs, you want to try to sing it exactly like that person, because you're developing your voice, you're learning intervals, you're training your ear, you're getting really, really good. So that's one way to do it. In addition to doing that, or another thing to do is to go join a church choir. Get in the choir and go every week and learn those songs and be a faithful member. You'll learn how to sing harmony. You'll learn how to perform. You get closer to God. You'll be in a community, and you'll learn what it feels like to stand up in front of people. That's another way to learn how to do it. So the first thing is you have to have a base, because you have to be able to, if you're going to be a working singer, you got to be able to do lots and lots of different things. When you get to a certain level, or at the same time, go to live shows, go to see somebody at your local club. We can't necessarily afford the $200 ticket all the time, but if somebody's singing in a coffee house, go to hear them, go to meet them, meet musicians and people in bands, go to the local music school. There's a music school in your neighborhood, or music college, whatever. Go to learn the tricks of the trade and be around people who are doing it and make those relationships, because those relationships are going to be, some of those people you're going to know all along the way, or you're going to meet them 10 years, 20 years down the line and work for them, or they for you. So the stuff to do, if you just start doing something locally with music, you'll meet people, you have people you can bounce off of. And again, you can talk to somebody by DMing somebody in Tokyo right now. You can start a relationship, a conversation with them. I mean, there's like no barrier to learning music now, for anyone.
That is an amazing advice, like a mega golden nugget. So I hope everybody's taking notes and writing everything that he just said, because that's exactly what we did on music class. You had, a bunch of songs you had to select, and you had to perform it the next week, and you had to be ready. You had to learn the songs. You had to make sure that you performed it well. You had to learn the lyrics. Like, if you didn't know the lyrics, you were out of that class. So like, it was harsh. It was really difficult. So I hope that you got, and one, I remember there was even like a No Doubt song or something, and I even wore sunglasses for like the performance. It was crazy. You had to be 100% there, and be present, and and not
It
losing.
was fun though, wasn't it?
It was incredible. It was incredible. Yes, I am really lucky and really grateful that I was able to learn from you and from incredible teachers there, and I'm just grateful that now, the viewers are going to be able to learn from you and go apply that for themselves too, because man, you guys, this advice cost me a ton of money when I was in music school. So I hope that you're taking notes. There was a ton. Awesome. So any other news that you want to share with us? Where can we see you perform? How can we find you?
Well, again, the DNA album. I have two singles that are out. Me and my daughter. The DNA record for Dorian and Nayanna Holley is out, and also you mentioned earlier. I have a show that I put together a few years ago, 5 years ago actually. A love letter to Marvin Gaye. Marvin Gaye is one of my favorite singers, and I wanted to do a show of his songs. And I'm really happy that I didn't know how hard it was going to be to do it, because if I had known how difficult it was, I wouldn't have done it. But I didn't know what I was getting into, so I put this giant show together. It's a 90-minute show of we do the What's Going On album. We do the whole album from start to finish. I don't know if you know, but that album is recorded without any stops. The songs don't end. Each song goes into the next song. And so we perform the concert that way. We perform the album the way it was recorded. I have strings, I have horns, vocals. One of the things special about Marvin Gaye, his vocals were like orchestration. It wasn't just people singing a chorus and singing oohs. His background vocals, some of his songs, you can take just the background vocals and it's a whole nother song beneath the lead vocal song. So and he sang all of his background vocals with. So sometimes you could hear a song and not even be sure which part was the melody and which was the background part, because it was all this tapestry, this one piece. So we do the show as much like that as possible. The features are the background vocals are featured very prominently in the show, as well as my lead. So it's a great show, and you can see that show now if you go to www.hitkor.com, HITKOR, hitkor.com. You can purchase the show, A Love Letter to Marvin Gaye. It's nice to meet you too, Kim. I saw Kim there. And I do have a website. The website, I'm glad you said that, because I have to put all of this stuff on my website, which it's not right now. What is my website? DORIANHOLLEY.com, probably.
Perfect.
Yeah. So that's what I'm doing lately. I'm going on the road with James Taylor into next month.
Awesome.
And so hi, nice to meet you too. Terinium, is that a person?
Yeah. Tirini Molua. Yeah.
Tirini Molua.
Yeah.
Hi,
She's from Africa.
Tirini Olua.
You got it.
Hello.
Perfect.
Hello.
Awesome. So I just wanted to ask like maybe two more questions and then we can close it there. So the first two people who posted the questions, I'm gonna just put it over here. Do you have some examples? Melissa S says, do you have some examples of audition songs you would recommend?
Geez, that's a hard question. I can never think of a song. Just something upbeat, something that people like. If a song comes on and everybody's dancing to it, that would be a song to perform. I mean, because you see people, you see the judges in an audition, and when an up-tempo song starts, where people are just like, they're happy. Judges are falling asleep. If they're seeing 400 people, they're hearing 385 ballads, slow songs, and you got to sit there and you got to be nice. And many of the songs are the same songs that you've heard before. Many of the songs are the same songs that have been at every audition since the beginning of time. Those are the songs to stay away from. Just pick a good up-tempo, right, cool song that shows off what you can do vocally. And that's easy to do. How can I
Perfect.
sing and breathe? Kim is asking, how can I sing and breathe? You sing and breathe. You're not going to stop breathing because if you do, you're going to die.
No, I said sing from the diaphragm.
How do you sing from the diaphragm? Okay, well, your diaphragm is like a balloon. So most people breathe wrong, right? So most people, when they breathe, if you can see my tummy, they breathe and they go, and they stick their tummy out. But what really happens is when your diaphragm has no air in it, it's like a balloon and it draws up, it's nothing in it. And when you take a breath in, it fills up and it fills up. So when you take a breath, it fills up at the bottom and then it fills up at the top, right? And one of the ways to sing from the diaphragm is to take a breath like that, push all the air out, then take a breath in and hold your abs tight and then sing and try to take the pressure off your throat, right? If you feel yourself straining, you're doing it wrong. But it's really though kind of, let me tell you a good way, because you're not going to remember all of what I just said. Here's a good way to do it. Lie on the floor with your head on the floor and relax and just take a breath and sing. And because of your body lying down and everything lying flat, you're probably going to sing right. And you're probably going to sing from your diaphragm.
Thank you. Awesome. So I have here Tierney Mulua says, what foods are bad for the voice?
I don't really worry about that, you know. I don't really worry about that. Some people can't tolerate milk and dairy products, and that clogs them up. Some people, again, dairy, eggs. I don't do eggs. Like if I have a big important performance, I don't do eggs that week. But I don't really worry about that much, because I think if you do your homework, if you learn, and if you get to a certain level, I think it's a lot less important. I don't eat before a show because I need all my blood to be going up to my brain. So I don't want to be digesting while I'm on stage trying to remember lyrics and trying to do what I'm supposed to do. That's really, that's a really big one. So just keep in mind when you eat, when you have to sing, when you have a show. Like if I have a gig and want to sing a session, I don't worry about it. But if I have a big show and a lot of stuff to remember, if I can eat, if the show's tonight, I can eat this morning and then that's fine. But if like, as it gets 11, 12, 1, 2 o'clock, I can't be eating and the show's like at 6 or something like that.
Okay, that's interesting. Mm-hmm. Esha says, hello, sir. Please, could you share the first steps to start songwriting? What are the tools we must be equipped with in order to start songwriting?
Well, technically, you don't need anything but a brain and a pen and a journal to write, because you can write it's on a recorder. You can start writing, like I could start writing a song for you right now. Like, I see a girl with headphones on, talking in a microphone. I'm looking at you and just start singing what you see. So, one of the ways that I practice when I'm not technically writing is if I'm getting ready to feed the dogs, I'll start singing something about the dog food that I'm making or preparing their thing. And so you can start with a little simple thing and you can write a song. Now, also you can sit at the piano and play chords and create a melody to your chords. Or you can sit with guitar and do the same thing. But you don't really need anything. And you can write a song a piece at a time. You can write a couple of lines and record them, but the thing that will get you writing more than anything else is to have a daily appointment at a certain time, the same time every day, and to sit down for an hour or two and to make yourself write. Don't sit there and think. Don't think, then wait to be inspired. Sit down and make yourself write something. When I graduated high school, I had been writing for a couple of years, and kind of learning how to do it and studying songwriters and buying songs and listening to them and trying to figure out what they did. And I went to a dear friend of mine who was he was my choir master when I was a boy. And I wanted to play my songs for him. And he sat and he recorded my songs for me on 4-track. And then he gave me the best advice anyone has ever gave me. He said, okay, this summer, I want you to write a song every day. Every day. That's how you learn how to write songs. And he didn't tell me anything more. He didn't give me any advice, not how to do it, just write a song every day. And I didn't think about it. I just went and did it. And I went and wrote some weeks I wrote 4 songs. Most weeks I wrote 5. But my goal was really to write a song every day. And man, did I learn. I learned how to write. So that's what I would do.
Perfect. Yeah, that sounds great. Thank you. Okay. Yes, Sasha.
Actually, thank you so much for answering that question. But I have written a few songs, but I'm having trouble like figuring out the melody of those songs. Like, how did you get started with, like understanding and, adding melody to your songs or like creating melody structures?
You got to listen to a lot of songs, right? And pick some good songwriters. I would take David Gates, write that name down, David Gates. Go find some David Gates songs. Burt Bacharach, go find some Burt Bacharach songs. Listen to. America as a band, listen to some of those songs. Those are all old songs, but they're songs with really good structures. One of the ways that the Beatles learned how to write was they had jobs as a cover band. And so they had to learn those songs because they didn't write songs, they were kids. So they learned songs and they played them in these bars, and they played a lot of shows. Sometimes they played 5 shows a night, 5 nights a week, 6 nights a week, whatever. And they traveled all throughout England, their town, playing. And so while they were learning these songs, they were learning song structure and song melody and song harmony. And then when they started to write, see, when you learn something, the next thing you do is filter through what you just learned. So if you would go and just pick, just like I told you about that list of songs to learn to sing, if you go and just go buy some music and learn. What do you play, piano or you play guitar?
Piano.
Okay, so piano is the best instrument because, as you know, a piano is like an orchestra. That's why when a piano is on a recording track, the piano dominates everything. They got to turn the piano way down because the piano takes a lot of sonic space out. So just get some songs. You can get some songwriting books. You can get a book of Burt Bacharach songs or Bruno Mars songs or just any songs that you like, but just make sure that it's diverse. Like if you're into Bruno Mars, don't let it just be Bruno Mars. Learn his songs, learn all the songs that he's written and really learn them, because he writes kind of classical music, classical pop music form songs. Like you could take some Bruno Mars songs and put them down in the 80s, and bands in the 80s would snap them right up and you wouldn't even know that they were written now, because he is an old soul kind of musician, that learned from the music his parents loved. But anyway, you can choose any artist that you like and just learn their songs. And when when you get through with the Burt Bacharach songbook, just go on to the next one. And you can do this cheaply too. You can go to like a old used sheet music and get it, or learn it by ear, however you do it. But I guarantee you, if you spend this year learning all the music that exists, by next year you'll be writing some great. The Beatles are considered one of the greatest songwriters of all time, and the reason is because of the time they spent learning music that already exists. That stuff didn't just come out of their heads. Something, you got to put something in first, and then what's going to come out is the way that your from your perspective, the way that you see things, the way that you tell things. And you won't
Perfect.
have any question about what the melody is once you start doing that. How old are you, Esha?
I'm 16.
Oh my God, you got, by the time you're 20, if you do what I just said, you'll be a monster.
Yeah, so
Thank you
more
so much. I would definitely implement that.
You're welcome.
Good. So we're gonna do one more question, and that will be it for today. How do you get less pitchy?
By singing a lot. You just sing. Your ear gets trained and your voice gets trained. You just have to you sing, and the more you sing, the more you learn where the pitch is. You just have, it's you just got to do it. 10,000 hours, 10,000 hours to become a master, but it just takes hundreds of hours of singing to learn what the pitch is. But you can go onto YouTube and people can teach you their videos on how to get perfect pitch and how to improve your pitch. Man, it's so easy to make it now. It's crazy. I mean, all of this stuff I'm talking about, for the most part, people had to kind of figure it out and go in their own way. You could sit at home now and just learn anything you want and never even leave the house. You wouldn't be a very interesting person, but it's all like right at your fingertips. You guys are like Esha. She is so lucky to live in this time. Just make sure that you balance it out by taking walks and by going out to lunch with friends and learning how to cook and helping your parents and making a sandwich and taking a sandwich to the homeless person on the corner. Just make sure you do all of those things so that we're not only selfish, insulated musicians, but that we're humans who share the planet with other people who might be less fortunate than you and I.
It was a pleasure to having you here. It was so nice to talk to you after 10 years. We definitely are going to see each other more, I promise.
Great.
Thank you so much for your advice, for sharing everything you've learned through the years, and for sharing everything with this community of singers who are hungry and who are excited to learn more and to, become better singers themselves, and maybe, I don't know, superstars if they're meant to be or whatever. So Khadija says, this is gold. Thank you so much for this masterclass, Melly and Dorian. I appreciate you both. Thank you. Yes. Well, anything else you want to add? Whatever's on your mind.
I just want to say, be encouraged, because it can happen. There's nothing special about me that happened to me. It was just by the grace of God. And, good things can happen to anybody, and how do I manage sleep? What is she saying? What is Kim saying?
I think we can just put it for now. We're gonna just finish it here because your time is valuable, and I appreciate that you gave us the time. So if we have any other questions, I can email you or something later. But
Okay.
I think we're gonna just leave it like this for now. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, dear.
And we'll talk soon, okay?
All right.